Throughout history, the trajectory of human technological advancement has been somewhat linear. Societies grow, cultures build upon the knowledge of their predecessors, and over time new inventions and methodologies are birthed. This steady march of progress has been charted by historians, sociologists, and scientists alike. But every once in a while there's a hiccup in the timeline, a sudden, almost inexplicable burst of progress. Consider the rapid development of the integrated circuit or microchip. In the span of a few decades, we went from room-sized computers with the computing power of a modern calculator to pocket-sized devices that could access vast swathes of human knowledge. These leaps are fascinating, not only because of the technological marvels they produce, but because they often don't align with the expected progression. Now, to add a sprinkle of cosmic wonder to the mix, let's indulge in the speculative. What if some of these rapid advancements didn't have their origins in human thought? What if, hidden among our countless innovations, some were inspired, tweaked, or even directly acquired from extraterrestrial sources? It's an alluring thought, especially when we consider the pace at which some of these technologies have emerged and the transformative impact they've had on society. One might argue that human collaboration, the globalization of information and cumulative innovation could explain these jumps, and they'd be right for the most part. But isn't there a sliver of wonder, a tiny what if that might suggest otherwise? After all, in the vast expanse of the universe with its billion of stars and potentially even more planets, could it be possible that we've had a little nudge along the way? Even if this speculation remains firmly in the realm of fiction, the very act of questioning, of wondering, propels us forward. It challenges us to look beyond the familiar horizon and entertain the infinite possibilities that lie beyond. And whether those possibilities are of our making or inspired by something or someone beyond the stars remains one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Human history is punctuated with moments of technological marvels that seem, at first glance, to come out of nowhere. These sudden advances, which defy linear progression, often raise eyebrows and fuel theories about extraterrestrial influences. One particularly enticing area of investigation is the realm of advanced propulsion systems and the anomalous technologies that accompany them. Let's start with the basics: propulsion. Our understanding of propulsion has, for the longest time, been based on Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is the principle that governs everything from the combustion engines in our cars to the colossal rocket engines that send astronauts into space. But in the last few decades, there have been whispers and leaked reports of propulsion systems that don't adhere to this conventional wisdom. The idea of reactionless drives or propulsion systems that function without emitting any tangible exhaust has been a subject of both ridicule and intrigue in the scientific community. Now, onto the anomalies. Over the years, there have been multiple reports, some more credible than others, about materials and technologies that seem to defy the laws of physics. Memory metals, substances that revert to a predefined shape, irrespective of how they've been manipulated, are one such example. These materials, light, flexible, and incredibly resilient, don't align neatly with our current understanding of metallurgy or materials science. Then there's the topic of energy sources. Contemporary human technology is primarily powered by electricity, derived from various sources like fossil fuels, nuclear power, and renewables. However, there have been persistent rumors about devices often linked to unidentified aerial phenomena, powered by energy sources unknown to modern science. These energy sources, seemingly compact, incredibly efficient, and with emissions profiles that are negligible, are a dream for current technological applications. If there's any truth to these speculations, the implications of such an energy source would be revolutionary. Piecing it all together, one could argue that these tech anomalies and whispers of advanced propulsion systems point to a potential outside influence, perhaps extraterrestrial in nature. But without concrete evidence, these remain in the realm of speculation and conjecture. The search for answers continues, but in the meantime, these mysteries offer a tantalizing glimpse into what might be possible, urging us to push the boundaries of our understanding and reach for the stars, both metaphorically and literally. Metamaterials have captured the imagination of researchers and enthusiasts alike, representing a class of materials that exhibit properties not found in naturally occurring substances. What makes metamaterials so fascinating is their unique, almost otherworldly ability to manipulate electromagnetic waves in ways that traditional materials can't. From invisibility cloaks to superlenses that surpass the limitations of conventional optics, the potential applications of these materials seem to border on science fiction. Delving deeper into their structure, metamaterials aren't derived from exotic elements sourced from distant galaxies. Instead, they owe their unique properties to their intricately engineered microstructures. These microstructures, often smaller than the wavelength of light they interact with, give metamaterials their power. By controlling and designing these structures at a microscopic scale, scientists can manipulate how these materials interact with light, radio waves, and other forms of electromagnetic radiation. The talk of advanced alloys, on the other hand, brings us to a slightly different territory. Alloys, as we understand them, are combinations of metals designed to imbue certain desirable properties. From the bronze of our ancient ancestors to the high-strength steels and superalloys of today, humanity's progress has been marked by our ability to create and harness the properties of alloys. But what if there exist alloys beyond our current comprehension, materials with attributes so unique that they challenge our current scientific understanding? There have been murmurs, especially in the circles focused on unidentified aerial phenomena, about the discovery of unknown alloys. These materials, often associated with unexplained crash sites or encounters, purportedly exhibit properties that cannot be accounted for based on our existing metallurgical knowledge. Whether it's resistance to extreme temperatures, inexplicable lightness combined with strength, or other unique electromagnetic interactions, these alloys represent another piece in the puzzle of potential extraterrestrial technology. While the origins and full capabilities of metamaterials and advanced alloys remain a topic of investigation, their very existence pushes us to question the limits of our technological understanding. It nudges us toward a future where the line between the natural and the engineered, the understood and the mysterious, becomes increasingly blurred, propelling us forward in our quest for knowledge and innovation. In the annals of modern ufology, few events have captured the public's imagination and stoked as much debate as the Roswell incident of 1947. A seemingly unassuming town in New Mexico became the epicenter of an event that would fuel discussions, investigations, and speculations for decades to come. But what really happened at Roswell? And more importantly, did it have a lasting impact on our technological development? The official narrative is well known. A rancher stumbled upon debris on his property which the US military initially described as a flying disc, before retracting that statement, declaring it the remnants of a weather balloon. Case closed, right? However, the inconsistencies and rapid backtracking in the official narrative only further fueled speculations. Soon, stories began circulating about not just debris, but an actual crashed spacecraft and even extraterrestrial bodies being recovered from the site. But let's dive a bit deeper into the implications of the Roswell incident in the context of technology. There's a theory, albeit largely in the domain of speculative fiction, that suggests some of the materials or technology retrieved from the Roswell site made their way into research labs. These labs, covert and dedicated to reverse engineering, aim to understand, replicate, and perhaps even implement alien technologies into human-made devices. Consider the growth and emergence of stealth technology, advanced propulsion systems, and even the aforementioned integrated circuits. Could it be mere coincidence that these technologies began to gain significant traction after the 1940s? While there's no concrete evidence linking the Roswell incident to these technological advancements, the timing is at the very least intriguing. Furthermore, witness testimonies, although often discredited or brushed aside, have hinted at the potential for technologies beyond our understanding present at Roswell. Whispers of materials that could change shape and composition, or propulsion systems that defied our understanding of physics continue to circulate. The James Webb Space Telescope is often heralded as the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope, but in reality, its capabilities go far beyond its predecessors. Set to redefine our understanding of the universe, the JWST's conception and the technology that drives it are nothing short of groundbreaking. Designed with the primary mirror spanning 6.5 meters, more than 2.5 times the diameter of Hubble's, the JWST promises unprecedented resolution and sensitivity. However, it's not just the size of the mirror that sets this telescope apart, it's the engineering behind it. Composed of 18 hexagonal segments coated with a thin layer of gold to optimize infrared reflection, these mirrors can be adjusted individually, allowing for in-flight calibrations. This design ensures optimal imaging performance, even after the wear and tear of a launch and deep space operations. The telescope's position is another intriguing aspect. Instead of orbiting Earth like Hubble, the James Webb Space Telescope is set to occupy a location known as the second Lagrange point, or L2, nearly 1.5 million kilometers away from our planet. At this spot, the gravitational forces between the Earth and the Sun, as well as the orbital motion of the telescope, all balance out, allowing the telescope to effectively hover in a stable position relative to the Earth and Sun. This unique position affords it an unobstructed view of the universe, free from the interference of Earth's atmosphere or thermal emissions. One of the driving goals behind the telescope is its quest to capture light from the first galaxies that formed after the Big Bang. By focusing on infrared observations, it can look further back in time than ever before, studying the formation and growth of these ancient galaxies and providing insights into the early phases of the universe. But its infrared prowess doesn't stop there. It's also ideally suited to study the formation of stars and planetary systems, including those in our own Milky Way galaxy. The technologies behind the James Webb Space Telescope raise questions about their origins. Given the massive leap in technological capabilities and the precision engineering required for its instruments, one might wonder, could any of its technological inspirations have roots in knowledge beyond our planet? While there's no direct evidence to suggest extraterrestrial influence, the mere existence of such advanced instruments sparks curiosity and opens the door to endless possibilities about our universe and the technologies we devise to study it. In the realm of UFO enthusiasts and those intrigued by the extraterrestrial, few names stand out as much as Bob Lazar. This unassuming figure burst onto the public scene in the late 1980s, presenting a narrative that would challenge the general consensus on UFOs and spark countless debates.
Flying saucers, flying discs.
Bob Lazar wasn't always synonymous with UFO lore. In fact, by profession, he was a physicist. According to his own account, he was hired to work in a secret section of Area 51, the United States' most infamous and secretive military base. The facility, named S4, supposedly housed projects that were not just top secret, but also otherworldly. The essence of Lazar's story revolves around his claims that he was recruited to work on a project involving the reverse engineering of alien technology. He described a scenario where human scientists, like himself, were attempting to understand and replicate the advanced technological marvels that were purportedly recovered from extraterrestrial visitors. This wasn't just about stealth aircraft or advanced weaponry. This was technology from the stars. Bob Lazar's revelation was more than just a personal account. It was a challenge to the US government's stance on UFOs. It was a direct claim that they not only knew about these visitors, but had tangible physical proof of their existence. To some, Lazar became a hero, a whistleblower lifting the veil on one of the biggest cover-ups in human history. To others, he was seen as a hoaxer, weaving an intricate tale for attention or perhaps other motivations. Over the years, his credibility has been both supported and attacked, with factors such as his alleged educational background and employment history becoming points of contention. However, whether one believes in the veracity of his story or not, Bob Lazar's impact on the world of UFO research and popular culture is undeniable. He opened a Pandora's box of questions, many of which remain unanswered to this day. One of the most compelling parts of Bob Lazar's story revolves around his description of a fleet of 9 flying saucers. These weren't just models or simulations. Lazar claimed that these were actual extraterrestrial craft stored at the S4 facility near Area 51. Each of these saucers, according to Lazar, had its own unique design and size, suggesting either different alien civilizations or various models from one advanced extraterrestrial race. The craft were not just for observation either. Lazar stated that he was given limited access to one particular craft, which he codenamed Sport Model. This saucer was sleek and smooth, shaped like a classic UFO, and had an interior that appeared both organic and biomechanical. Inside the sport model, Lazar described the absence of any traditional human-designed controls like buttons, switches or levers. Instead, the craft was operated by a series of molded seats and panels that seemed to respond directly to touch and intention. Everything about its build suggested that it wasn't constructed for human physiology. The absence of right angles, the seamless nature of its construction, and the smooth metallic surfaces all hinted at an engineering knowledge far surpassing our current understanding. More intriguingly, Lazar claimed that these craft utilized a propulsion system that was not just advanced, but entirely alien to our current scientific understanding. He talked of a power source referred to as Element 115, which was used to generate gravity waves, allowing the sources to essentially fall in the direction they wanted to travel. This method of propulsion, if true, would revolutionize our understanding of physics and space travel. But where did these craft come from? Lazar didn't claim to know their exact origins, but he did suggest they were part of a long-standing back-engineering project by the US government, the aim to decipher the technology for potential military and scientific applications. Throughout his many interviews, the consistent nature of Bob's descriptions about these 9 mysterious crafts has been a cornerstone for many of his believers. It either lends credibility to his tale or showcases a deeply intricate and unwavering commitment to his narrative. Regardless of where one stands on the spectrum of belief, the story of the 9 sources is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating pieces of UFO lore in the modern era. Bob Lazar's tales from his alleged time at the S4 facility delve into more than just descriptions of physical craft. They provide a glimpse into technology that, by his account, defies our current scientific understanding. One of the core tenets of Lazar's revelations is that the propulsion systems of these extraterrestrial craft operated on principles that we have yet to fully grasp in terrestrial science. He frequently spoke of Element 115, which at the time of his initial disclosures had not been synthesized or identified in the periodic table. This element, according to Lazar, served as the fuel for these spacecraft. It's not merely about using it as a source of energy, but it's the manner in which it supposedly manipulated gravity that stands out. The crafts didn't just fly in our conventional sense, they generated their own gravitational fields, allowing them to warp and bend spacetime. This mode of travel would mean that rather than moving through space, space itself would move around the craft. But how can one even begin to control gravity, a force we're only beginning to understand? Lazar described devices within the craft known as gravity amplifiers. These, combined with the use of Element 115, were said to produce a gravitational wave focused by 3 distinct cylindrical structures underneath the craft. The implication here is significant. Mastering gravity would open up possibilities not only for space travel, but also for how we understand the very fabric of the universe. Furthermore, the craft's interiors, as per Lazar's account, were just as enigmatic. Without conventional controls or recognizable interfaces, it's postulated that the craft might have had a direct connection with its pilot, suggesting a biomechanical or even telepathic mode of operation. The cockpit of the sport model craft he detailed was devoid of sharp angles, and everything seemed to be molded from a singular seamless material. This design approach raises questions about the manufacturing techniques of these supposed extraterrestrial civilizations. How can a civilization craft object without seams, joints, or evident assembly lines? The truly intriguing aspect of Lazar's claim was that, at the time he made it, Element 115 did not exist on the periodic table. It was a supposed material with properties that sounded straight out of a science fiction novel. Skeptics quickly seized upon this, using it as fodder to debunk Lazar's tales. However, in a twist of scientific advancement, the element was synthesized in labs in 2003 and added to the periodic table, known as moscovium. However, it's crucial to point out a significant difference between Lazar's claims and the scientifically synthesized version of the element. The element 115 produced in laboratories is highly unstable, decaying rapidly, and not showing any of the marvelous gravitational properties described by Lazar. Lazar anticipated this discrepancy, asserting that the stable form of element 115, the one with the unique properties he described, was likely found in regions of the universe with different star production mechanisms than our own. Bob Lazar's discussions on Element 115 serve as a linchpin to his broader narrative. While the scientific community's version doesn't directly validate his claims, its very existence provides a tantalizing hint that there's still much about the universe we don't understand. Whether you view Lazar as a whistleblower or a fabricator, discussions surrounding Element 115 demonstrate the fascinating interplay between fringe claims and mainstream science. As the years have passed, debates have raged over the validity of Lazar's claims. Yet, his consistent and detailed accounts of technology beyond our understanding continue to fuel discussions in both scientific and UFO enthusiast circles. Whether one views him as a whistleblower or a storyteller, the tales he has spun serve as a captivating exploration of what might be possible beyond the limits of our current knowledge. In the dynamic world of UFO stories, testimonies, and whistleblowers, it's not uncommon for accounts to evolve, get embellished, or even get retracted as the years roll by. Yet there stands Bob Lazar, a singular figure whose story has remained consistent since it first broke into the public consciousness in the late 1980s. What adds weight to Lazar's claims isn't just the detail in his revelations, but the unyielding consistency with which he's presented them, irrespective of the audience or the format, be it radio interviews, documentaries, or casual conversations. From the moment Lazar came forward with his astonishing claims about extraterrestrial technology at Area 51's S4 site, skepticism surrounded his narrative. Critics and debunkers came out in droves, armed with a myriad of reasons to dismiss Lazar's claims. They cited a lack of concrete evidence, questioned his educational and professional background, and often painted him as a fabricator seeking fame or financial gain. However, in the face of such overwhelming scrutiny, where many would falter or revise their statements, Lazar's central narrative about the alien crafts, their propulsion systems, and the secret workings of S4 have stayed the same. Time, as they say, is the best judge. Over the 3 decades since Lazar's claims were made, certain aspects of his story have received unintentional validation. The existence of Element 115, once a crucial but fantastical part of his tale, became a reality when scientists officially added it to the periodic table in 2003. While our synthesized version of the element differs from Lazar's descriptions and its stability is fleeting, its very discovery gives pause to even the most ardent skeptics. Lastly, it's worth noting the personal cost to Lazar. Coming forward with such a narrative, true or not, puts one in the crosshairs of public opinion and often personal and professional alienation. Lazar has expressed on numerous occasions his regret about coming forward and the impact it had on his personal life. If his objective was fame or financial gain, one would expect him to double down, to produce more claims, to keep himself in the spotlight. Yet Lazar did the opposite. He receded from the limelight, rarely giving interviews, and maintained his initial tale. This behavior contrasts sharply with those who spin stories for personal gain. It begs the question, why would someone maintain a hoax for over 3 decades, especially when the personal toll is so high? Extraterrestrials, beings from beyond our world, have often dominated our imagination and storytelling. But what if some of these stories are more than just tales? What if governments around the world had opportunities to capture these mysterious visitors? Let's delve into some historical events where perhaps governments might have had the chance to capture aliens. Let's hop across the pond to late December 1980 in Suffolk, England, Rendlesham Forest to be exact, a place that would soon earn the nickname Britain's Roswell. Why, you ask? Well, grab your flashlight and follow me into the heart of this captivating mystery. It all began a few days after Christmas at RAF Woodbridge, a US Air Force base. Security personnel, including the now famous John Burroughs and Jim Penniston, reported mysterious lights descending into the forest. Thinking it might be a downed aircraft, a team was sent to investigate, but what they discovered wasn't a crashed plane. It was something far stranger. As the servicemen ventured deeper into the woods, they described seeing a triangular craft resting on 3 legs. Penniston even claimed to have touched the object, describing it as warm, with strange symbols not unlike the hieroglyphs in the Roswell debris. The craft then ascended, leaving behind 3 indentations in the ground and increased radioactivity, which later investigations confirmed. But the story doesn't end there. 2 nights later, the lights returned. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt decided to investigate personally. Accompanied by a team, Holt ventured into the forest with a Geiger counter and a voice recorder. The recordings, which were later released to the public, capture Holt and his team's genuine bewilderment as they experienced a series of bizarre phenomena: pulsing lights, laser-like beams shooting down from the sky, and a mysterious red object. The aftermath was a swirl of confusion. Initially, the US and British military brushed the incidents off. However, in 1983, a memorandum from Holt detailing the events became public, causing a media sensation. Theories began pouring in. Was it an extraterrestrial visitation? A secret satellite? A classified aircraft test? Over the years, the British Ministry of Defence remained tight-lipped, stating that the event posed no threat to national security and therefore didn't warrant an investigation. However, for those involved and many who've delved into the depths of this mystery, Rendlesham remains an encounter that challenges our understanding of the unknown. The end of the 1980s was a time of many significant world events. While the Berlin Wall was falling and the internet was in its infancy, the skies over Belgium were hosting an event that still puzzles many to this day. Enter the Belgian UFO Wave, a series of alleged extraterrestrial sightings that took the country, and soon the world, by storm. From November 1989 to April 1990, thousands of Belgians reported seeing large, silent, low-flying triangular formations of lights in the sky. These weren't just the tales of a few scattered individuals. There were collective sightings reported by entire groups of people. And even police officers corroborated many of these claims. The report shared a striking similarity. Most witnesses described the objects as huge flying platforms, often triangular in shape with bright lights at each corner. On the night of March 30th, 1990, things escalated. The Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets after ground-based radar locked onto an unknown target. The target played a game of aerial cat and mouse with the jets, demonstrating remarkable maneuverability and speed. Pilots reported that the UFOs would react to their attempts at intercept, accelerating and changing altitude far beyond the capabilities of 20th century earthly aircraft. Several radar lock-ons were achieved by the jets, and at one point, the UFOs dropped from an altitude of 10,000 feet to 500 feet in mere seconds, a move that would have been fatal to any human pilot due to the G-force. This baffling and dangerous maneuverability, combined with the sheer number of sightings, made it hard to dismiss the events as mere hallucinations or hoaxes. Adding gravitas to the sightings, General Wilfried de Brouwer, the Deputy Chief of the Belgian Air Staff, held a press conference where he confirmed the military's inability to identify the nature, origin, or intentions of the high-speed objects. He showed radar tape footage and explained the military's involvement in the sightings, giving an official weight to the phenomenon. However, as with all things UFO, skeptics have their counter-arguments. Some suggest that the sightings could be attributed to a combination of mass hysteria, misidentifications of stars and planets, or even secret military aircraft tests. The Belgian Wave has been compared to other historical UFO flaps, where a kernel of genuine mystery gets amplified by media hype and public anxiety. Still, what makes the Belgian UFO Wave stand out is the sheer number of witnesses, the corroboration by police and military personnel, and the undeniable radar evidence. More than 3 decades later, the events remain one of the most well-documented and yet inexplicable UFO episodes in history. Whatever was in the skies over Belgium in that fateful winter, it left behind a legacy of awe, wonder, and enduring mystery. The year 1997 was poised to be significant for its technological advancements and the evolution of the internet. However, on the evening of March 13th, in the skies above Phoenix, Arizona, and neighboring cities, an event occurred that would make its mark on UFO history. The Phoenix Lights phenomenon is considered one of the most widely witnessed and documented UFO sightings in the modern era, and like all great mysteries, it's shrouded in debate, intrigue, and wonder. As the sun set on that March evening, reports began trickling in from across the state of Arizona. Initially, it started with accounts of a massive V-shaped object, several football fields in length, moving silently across the sky. Eyewitnesses, which numbered in the thousands, included pilots, police officers, and even the Arizona governor, Fife Symington. The descriptions were eerily consistent, a series of lights, often 5 to 7, in a distinct triangular formation, floating effortlessly and silently overhead. Hours later, a second event occurred. A series of stationary lights hovered over the Phoenix area. These orb-like illuminations remained in place, forming a slight arc, and then one by one, they blinked out, leaving puzzled and awestruck observers on the ground. This event was captured on video by multiple civilians and made its way onto local and national news, catapulting the Phoenix lights into the spotlight. But what were they? An extraterrestrial visitation, top-secret military aircraft, an elaborate hoax? The official explanation from the military, revealed days after the event, was that the lights were flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft during a nighttime exercise at the Barry Goldwater Range. However, this explanation didn't sit well with many, including some experts who insisted that the lights seen over Phoenix didn't behave like conventional flares. Governor Symington, who initially made light of the situation by bringing an aide dressed as an alien to a press conference, later admitted that he'd witnessed the event himself and believed it to be of extraterrestrial origin. The event stirred intense debate and led to a myriad of theories. Skeptics pointed to military exercises, atmospheric conditions, or even mass delusion as potential explanations. Proponents of the extraterrestrial theory argued that the vast size of the craft, its silence, and its seemingly anti-gravity movement were far beyond any known human-made aircraft's capabilities. Airports are bustling hubs of activity, filled with thousands of people, grounded by schedules, rules, and predictable trajectories. Yet on November 7, 2006, the usual humdrum of flights and routine announcements at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport was disrupted by something quite extraordinary, something quite unearthly. As the day progressed, workers at one of the world's busiest airports noticed a peculiar dark grey metallic object hovering silently above Gate C-17. This unidentified flying object was neither broadcasting a transponder signal nor communicating with the air traffic controllers, not the typical behavior of an aircraft, especially in a strictly controlled airspace like that of O'Hare. According to multiple witnesses, which included seasoned pilots, mechanics, and airport personnel, this mysterious oval-shaped craft hovered for several minutes. Its presence was undeniable, stationary, deliberate, and apparently undisturbed by the winds or the roar of jet engines beneath. Even more intriguing was its sudden departure. Witnesses described the UFO shooting upwards at an incredible speed, piercing the thick cloud cover and leaving behind an almost perfect circular hole in its wake. This hole reportedly lingered for several minutes before clouds closed the gap, as if the sky itself was trying to mend a breach in its fabric. Now, when an event like this occurs at one of the world's major transport hubs, it's hard to keep it under wraps. Word quickly spread, and soon the sighting became national and international news. However, the official response from the Federal Aviation Administration was less than satisfactory for those seeking answers. They initially dismissed the event, attributing the sighting to a weather phenomenon, and stated that they weren't going to investigate. But the pressure from major news outlets, including the Chicago Tribune, eventually forced a more formal statement, albeit one that continued to emphasize a weather-related explanation. But the employees who witnessed the event weren't buying the weather explanation. They knew what they saw, and many were frustrated by what they felt was a dismissive approach by the authorities. Some witnesses even faced ridicule, with a few opting for anonymity, fearing professional repercussions. The 2006 O'Hare UFO sighting is significant not just because of where it took place, but also because of the sheer number of witnesses, many of whom were aviation professionals. When airport security was at an all-time high, an unidentified craft hovering above an airport terminal was unsettling, to say the least. As with many UFO events, skeptics and believers have waged battles over the validity and nature of the O'Hare sighting. But regardless of where one stands on the matter, the incident serves as a stark reminder. Sometimes the skies above us hold mysteries that challenge our understanding of the world and force us to consider possibilities beyond our everyday experiences. And as always, I hope you enjoyed our video today. Thanks for watching.
On September 12th, 2023, the world was made aware of an allegedly unknown inhuman species. What? Crazy, I know. Let's back up a bit because I just dropped a huge bomb on you, and I think starting at the beginning is the easiest way to explain it. Hi, I'm V. Welcome to Life's Biggest Questions. Buckle in because today I'll be rambling through my thoughts on the hearing that took place in Mexico. Humans have been worried about alien invasions for hundreds of years. There are mentions of UAP sightings spanning all the way back to ancient civilizations. The fear that a more advanced civilization capable of destroying our world is lurking just out of sight has paved the way for hundreds of conspiracies and theories to form over the years. But what if they're not just theories anymore? What if we now had physical proof that a smarter, more advanced species existed, and not only existed, was here, on Earth with us? Well, the shocking thing is, these may not be what-if questions anymore. This year, being the first year that has held official government hearings surrounding UAP, has drawn out a lot of wild claims. In the US, military personnel have reported that the US government is in possession of inhuman biologics and UAP. One man stated the things he had seen surrounding inhuman biologics and injuries caused by inhumans were extremely disturbing. He said, quote, "I have to be very careful here. What I personally witnessed, myself and my wife, was very disturbing," end quote. Jaime Maussan, a journalist, researcher, and self-proclaimed ufologist, took the stand at a UAP hearing in Mexico, presenting two cases containing inhuman life. The following information is all alleged, as it's based on recounts of witnesses, translations, and personal research. In 2015, Jaime found his first inhuman specimen. In 2017, two bodies were recovered from deep underground in the sandy Peruvian coastal desert of Nazca, Peru, found wrapped in algae. Jaime said that the location they were found in was clearly deliberate, as it assisted with the conservation and preservation of the creatures' bodies. The area is also well known for having giant figures carved into the earth that are only visible from a bird's eye view. The lines are mainly attributed to indigenous communities, but they have influenced people to create a vast collection of theories about the area. Jaime somehow came into the possession of the bodies and began to study them. He described them as, quote, "bodies approximately 60 centimeters long, covered by a white powder that, through electron microscopy, we identify as diatom powder, which allows the desiccation of the bodies as well as the absence of the generation of bacteria, fungi, and cadaveric fauna. The presence of this dust allows the perfect conservation by desiccation of these bodies, causing a natural conservation process over time, which we were able to calculate by applying the carbon-14 test, which indicated and dated an average of 1,000 years old." Jaime claims to have conducted a plethora of tests which covered essentially every part of the body. He did X-rays, 3D reconstructions, comparative analysis, and DNA analysis. He conducted a computed tomography, or CT scan, which is an X-ray imaging procedure which creates images of slices, which can then be studied. He ran histology tests, which allowed for the visualization of tissue structure and characteristic changes the tissue may have undergone. It's a microscopic study of tissues and organs through sectioning and staining. He also claims the specimens underwent studies of forensic anthropology, which is a subfield of the studying of human remains. The tests were apparently very telling. They not only confirmed that the creatures were not human, but they also provided researchers insight into the creature's biology and build. He also mentioned that the creatures had 3 fingers and toes, 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, an abdomen, and a neck. To state the obvious, that's a very humanoid structure. Forensic anthropology and 3D reconstructions revealed the bone structure of the creature had, quote, "perfect harmony and agreement between the joints," end quote. Jaime also mentioned that they had observed the wear of the bones, focusing on the biomechanics of the creature. They had resistant bones, extremely light but very strong. He compared them to the bones of a bird. Their necks were a long structure that joined to the head in the middle floor of the skull. That connection point does not occur in primate species. It's never been recorded. Primates have a circular space where our spinal cord connects to our brain, But Jaime said that these creatures had a rectangular-shaped hole. They have a large pneumatized skull, which means it has holes in it. The spaces allow it to be very light while still being rigid and protective. It has a large inner cavity, which told researchers that the creature's brain would have been very large. The eye cavities were also so large, which would have allowed for amazing stereoscopic vision. Stereoscopic vision allows enhanced depth and peripheral vision. It had very small nostrils, and its jaw joint and lack of teeth allowed researchers to determine that the creature mainly swallowed its nutrition opposed to chewing it. They found that their necks were retractable, much like a turtle. They found that the thorax had a bone, very similar to birds, which would have provided increased mobility in their shoulders and arms. They did not have carpal or tarsal bones, so they wouldn't have wrist or ankle mobility. Their ribs were completely circular and connected to the vertebral column. There was a very small space between them, and they had 14 to 16 ribs. The bodies were also, okay, wait, 14 to 16? How do you not know whether it's 14 or 16? Like, wait, scroll. How do you not know whether it's 14 or 16? Like, this man is coming out with all of these tests, doing all of this insane research, and the one thing that he could actually physically see on the x-rays, bones, ribs, he couldn't decide whether there were 14 or 16? Simple, is it 8 or 7 on each side? He was out here acting like a genius, like, they had large cavities and such, and stereoscopic, and you're telling me the thing that stumped him was the number of ribs. Like, at that point, just lie and say 15. I don't care if that wouldn't make sense. So you're not filling in the age range section of an online survey. Just say a singular number. Just, okay. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, whatever, I'm done. Okay. The bodies were also found with metal discs under their skin. The discs were metallic alloy, which included both osmium and cadmium. These two metals stood out to researchers because both are currently used for satellite telecommunications. That's pretty alien if you ask me. Thanks to the tomology, DNA analysis, comparative analysis, and a carbon-14 test, some extremely interesting biological revelations were made, and they were able to find out the approximate age of the beings. They found that the creatures were about 1,000 years old. They were able to see traces of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and blood vessels, as well as possible organs or organelles. At a millimetric level, they were able to find oviducts, which had the presence of eggs, which told Jaime that the creatures had a continuous gestation process, like humans and most mammals. Looking at you, platypus. Because of all these tests, they were able to confirm that the creatures were 100% organic and biological, not falsified, as the replication of the developing eggs in the oviduct would be impossible. They even found fingerprints on the creatures, but of course, they're not just normal fingerprints, nuh-uh. Unlike us who have circular fingerprints, they have lines. Yes, lines. Horizontal lines more specifically. But the most amazing claim that was made by Jaime were the claims surrounding the DNA analysis of the species. Jaime claimed that they sent the DNA out to labs not only nationally, but internationally. That's right. Though he didn't say what labs or countries they were sent to, he did give us the important information that it was in fact sent out both nationally and, more impressively, internationally. The labs compared the samples with over 1 million registered species, and the results gave evidence that only 70% of the genetic material coincides with what is known. For some perspective, the difference in DNA between us and a dog is less than 16%. The difference between us and some bacteria is less than 15%. A difference of 30 is like comparing us to a slug or a banana almost. The difference is unprecedented and totally outside the parameter of what is expected. Jaime closed his presentation by saying, "I can affirm then that these bodies are 100% real, organic, and biological, that at a time they had life and are irrefutable evidence in themselves. We are facing the paradigm of describing a new species or the opportunity to accept that there has been contact with other non-human beings that were drawn and pointed out in the past in various cultures throughout the world, such as Peru, Egypt, and Mexico, and that today we can accept their existence among and with us. Thank you very much." Okay, so the research that Jaime spoke about is absolutely incredible. The only thing that would be even more incredible is if he actually had proof of the research. Jaime did not present a single piece of evidence supporting his claims. He just spoke about a lot of tests, observations, and discoveries. And I'm not necessarily dismissing Jaime's claims or saying they're definitely untrue. I'm just saying that a lot more information needs to be provided, like documents, test results, video proof, cross-checking, collaborating. Until then, I'm not inclined to fully believe his claims, especially because, and here's a shocking plot twist for you guys. Do you remember how at the very beginning of this video I mentioned Jaime had collected his first claimed non-human specimen in 2015? Yeah? Good, you were listening. Well, he was lying. It was not inhuman, and he was aware that it was not inhuman, as he had fabricated it. He lied. So yeah, he has a messy track record, a lack of proof, and a strange aversion to choosing between 14 and 16. Yeah, I'm back on that because it doesn't make any sense. It's like asking him, oh, how many specimens have you found? And he says, 1 to 2. Like, no, it's just 1 or 2. You can visually see that it's 1 or 2. In the photos, you can literally see the ribs poking out. How are you gonna say 14 to 16 ribs? How do you not know? Interestingly, the US has actually created an organization dedicated to identifying and researching aerial phenomena, called the ARO, or the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. This program is actually directed by an accomplished physicist named Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, which, as a person who enjoys skeptical sciences, having an accomplished, credible scientist in charge of this program really excites me. Kirkpatrick is dedicated to following science and to providing the public with any information that is found. Too often, people discredit UFO conspiracists, but really, the thought that there's other species in this universe isn't outlandish. In fact, it's extremely rational. I mean, yes, there is a line, but for the most part, people are just participating in scientific theorizing. Science is about asking questions, making up theories, disproving theories, making mistakes, finding answers, understanding, learning. Curious, skeptical, bizarre minds do make the best scientists.
The idea of extraterrestrial beings hiding in Earth's oceans might seem like something out of science fiction, but when you dive into the topic, it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Covering approximately 71% of the Earth's surface, our oceans are vast, mysterious, and largely unexplored. In fact, more than 80% of the ocean remains unmapped and unobserved. This immense unexplored terrain, with its immense pressure, cold temperatures, and lack of light, would be inhospitable to us, but could it be a refuge for beings with advanced technology? The depths of our oceans could provide perfect camouflage, allowing extraterrestrial visitors to study us from afar, unobserved, unreachable, and undisturbed. Imagine the technology required to withstand the crushing pressures of the deep sea, to navigate in complete darkness, and to remain hidden from our most advanced detection methods. Such technology would surely be beyond our current capabilities, but not necessarily beyond an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. Interestingly, there have been numerous reports and sightings that might lend credence to this idea. One of the most famous cases is the USO, Unidentified Submersible Object, sighting by the USS Trepang in 1971, where crew members reportedly observed an unknown object rising out of the water and captured it on film. Many other naval personnel and civilians have reported seeing strange objects entering or emerging from the sea, behaving in ways that defy conventional explanation. The infamous Puerto Rico sighting in 2013 involved an object that was captured on radar and infrared cameras by Homeland Security, moving in and out of the water at incredible speeds and with maneuvering capabilities that seemed to defy our understanding of physics. Could these sightings be evidence of extraterrestrial visitors using our oceans as hiding places or bases of operation? The lack of concrete evidence makes definitive conclusions impossible. The ocean's depths are one of the last unexplored frontiers on our planet, a place where mysteries abound and where the line between known science and speculative fiction blurs. The possibility that we might share this planet with unseen visitors from beyond the stars adds yet another layer of wonder to the world beneath the waves. Antarctica, the frozen and desolate continent at the southernmost tip of our planet, has been a subject of mystery and fascination for decades. Its extreme isolation, harsh weather conditions, and vast ice-covered landscapes make it a place few humans ever venture. But what if this icy wilderness is not as deserted as we think? What if it could provide the perfect hiding place for extraterrestrial visitors? The idea of aliens in Antarctica is not new and has been the subject of many conspiracy theories and speculative tales. The isolation and extreme conditions of Antarctica would make it an ideal place for an advanced extraterrestrial civilization to establish a base or research station, hidden from human observation. The miles of ice that cover the continent could conceal entrances to subterranean bases, where advanced technology could maintain comfortable living conditions regardless of the frozen wasteland above. What makes this idea more intriguing is the history of UFO sightings and strange phenomena reported in and around Antarctica. For example, during Operation High Jump, a US Navy operation led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd in 1946-47, there were unconfirmed reports of unidentified flying objects observed by the crew. These objects were said to be capable of incredible speeds and maneuvers that defied explanation. In more recent times, satellite imagery has captured anomalies that some believe to be evidence of hidden structures beneath the ice. Some of these images have led to wild speculations about lost civilizations or advanced bases hidden beneath the ice. While most of these can be explained as natural formations or artifacts of the imaging process, they continue to fuel interest and speculation. Additionally, the interest shown by world leaders and influential figures in Antarctica has added to the mystery. Several high-profile visits to the continent have been reported, often shrouded in secrecy, leading to further speculation about what might be hidden there. Could they be visiting concealed bases or meeting with extraterrestrial beings? Clouds, those ever-changing ethereal formations that drift across our skies, may be more than just a beautiful backdrop to our days. What if these clouds could be hiding something more, something extraordinary? The notion that extraterrestrial beings could be concealed among the clouds seems fantastical, but the constant movement and ever-changing formations of clouds would make detection incredibly challenging. It's an idea that combines scientific curiosity with imaginative speculation, leading us to wonder if the sky is not as empty as it seems. The concept of aliens hiding in clouds or using them as camouflage is not entirely without precedent. Numerous UFO sightings have described objects that appear to be hiding in or emerging from cloud formations. Some witnesses have reported seeing cloud-like objects that move and behave in ways inconsistent with the natural cloud behavior, leading to theories that these might be craft using clouds as concealment, or even generating artificial clouds to hide within. One of the most famous instances occurred in 1957, when a British Royal Air Force pilot observed a metallic object enveloped in a cloud, moving at high speed and at an altitude that ruled out conventional explanations. The object seemed to generate the cloud around it, perhaps using it as camouflage. More recently, several sightings of strange cloud formations have led to speculations about hidden UFOs. These formations often appear as perfectly round or unusually shaped clouds that don't fit typical meteorological patterns. Some witnesses have reported seeing lights or metallic objects within these strange clouds, fueling theories of hidden extraterrestrial craft. The technological requirements for creating or utilizing clouds as concealment would undoubtedly be beyond our current capabilities, but might be within reach for an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. The ability to create or manipulate clouds would allow them to observe us from above, hidden in plain sight, monitoring without intervening. Of course, skeptics argue that these sightings and reports can be explained as misunderstandings of natural phenomena, optical illusions, or even deliberate hoaxes. Without concrete evidence, the idea of extraterrestrials hiding among the clouds remains speculative and unproven. But I'd prefer to believe in these sightings than not, because I find it more interesting to think we are not alone out here. The moon, our closest celestial neighbor, has been a source of fascination, inspiration, and mystery for centuries. Its cratered surface, barren landscape, and close proximity to Earth make it a constant presence in our night sky. But could it also be a hiding place for extraterrestrial beings or technology? The idea may seem outlandish, but there are intriguing arguments and sightings that fuel this speculation. Firstly, the moon's proximity to Earth would make it an ideal observation post for any civilization interested in studying our planet. The dark side of the moon, perpetually hidden from Earth's view, could theoretically conceal bases or other structures, allowing extraterrestrial visitors to remain undetected. Advanced technology could potentially enable them to live and operate on the moon's inhospitable surface. The history of strange sightings and unexplained phenomena on the moon adds to this intrigue. During the Apollo missions, astronauts reported seeing odd flashes of light, inexplicable moving objects, and other phenomena they couldn't easily explain. NASA's transcripts from the Apollo 11 mission contain references to unidentifiable objects observed by the astronauts, leading to endless speculation and debate. One of the most famous cases of potential extraterrestrial activity on the moon is the so-called shard, an anomalous object captured in lunar orbiter photographs. The object appears to be towering above the moon's surface, and its nature and origin have never been conclusively explained. Some have suggested it might be an alien structure or artifact. Additionally, the V formation near the crater Oort and other unusual geometric formations on the moon's surface have led some to speculate about artificial construction. Though many scientists dismiss these as natural geological formations, they continue to be a subject of fascination and debate among those who believe in extraterrestrial involvement. Many UFO sightings on Earth include reports of objects heading towards or coming from the direction of the moon. Could these be craft traveling to and from a hidden lunar base? In the world of science fiction, cloaking technology is a familiar concept, allowing spaceships and beings to become invisible to the naked eye. But what if this technology isn't just the stuff of imaginative storytelling? What if advanced extraterrestrial civilizations possess the ability to conceal themselves using sophisticated cloaking techniques, rendering them invisible to human observation? Cloaking technology represents the pinnacle of stealth and camouflage, where an object can be hidden from sight by manipulating light or other electromagnetic waves. This could be accomplished by bending light around an object, creating a blind spot where the object becomes invisible. Such a technology would be far beyond our current scientific capabilities, but it may be within reach for a highly advanced extraterrestrial civilization. The idea of aliens using cloaking technology is not new and has been linked to various UFO sightings and encounters. Witnesses have reported objects that appear and disappear abruptly, as if they were phasing in and out of visibility. Some have described seeing partially cloaked objects that seem to shimmer or distort the light around them, akin to the way heat waves distort our perception of distant objects. One of the most well-known incidents involving potential cloaking technology is the Tic Tac UFO sighting reported by US Navy pilots in 2004. The object was described as having an ability to disappear and reappear in different locations, moving in ways that defied conventional understanding of aerodynamics. Some have theorized that these movements could be explained by advanced cloaking or teleportation technology. Other sightings have included reports of objects that seem to cloak themselves by blending seamlessly with their surroundings, becoming indistinguishable from the sky, sea, or landscape. These reports often describe objects that move without making sound and without any visible propulsion system, adding to the mystery and intrigue. The potential implications of advanced cloaking technology are vast. If extraterrestrial beings were utilizing such technology to observe or interact with humanity, it would mean that they could be present without our knowledge, watching and learning from a hidden vantage point. It could explain why, despite numerous sightings and encounters, concrete evidence of extraterrestrial presence remains elusive. Yet the concept continues to captivate our collective imagination, inviting us to ponder the unknown and to consider the extraordinary possibilities that lie beyond our current technological horizon. The thought that we might be observed by hidden eyes, that the universe may be filled with invisible wonders, adds a layer of complexity and wonder to our quest to understand our place in the cosmos. Our world is a library of mysteries, some solved, others still waiting to be unraveled. But what if I told you there's a page in the book of Earth's mysteries that's as startling as it is fascinating? Today we're traveling to Brazil, the land of samba, soccer, and believe it or not, one of the most intriguing UFO incidents in history. An event that's been compared to the Roswell incident of 1947. But unlike Roswell, this chapter from the late 1970s has managed to stay relatively obscured from the world's lens. So buckle up as we dive into the depths of Operation Saucer, or as it's popularly known, the Brazilian Roswell. In 1977, in the remote reaches of the Amazon River Delta, something inexplicable began happening in the Brazilian island of Colares. This tranquil and somewhat isolated place, known for its simple fishing villages and sprawling, lush rainforests, became the epicenter of a series of strange sightings that left its inhabitants frightened and astounded. These events have come to be referred to as the Brazilian Roswell, one uncanny echo of the famed incident that occurred in the New Mexico desert 3 decades prior. The sightings were anything but ordinary. The residents started observing bizarre, glowing objects hovering in the sky. These phenomena were not the occasional fleeting glimpses we often associate with UFO sightings. No, these were recurring, often nightly occurrences that lasted for several months. The objects, described by eyewitnesses as saucers or luminous spheres, displayed unconventional movement patterns and would hover over the area, emitting intense beams of light. Local doctors were overwhelmed with patients complaining of mysterious ailments after these encounters. The local government, unable to provide an explanation or assistance, called in the Brazilian Air Force for help. This marked the beginning of an unprecedented military investigation codenamed Operation Saucer. Operation Saucer, under the command of Captain Uirange Hollander, carried out extensive research on the sightings. The team comprised of about 24 soldiers who set up a base on Colares Island, aiming to document this unexplainable phenomenon scientifically. They reportedly managed to capture hundreds of photographs and over 16 hours of film footage showing the strange objects. Interviews were conducted with many locals, documenting their experiences and encounters in meticulous detail. The operation, however, was shrouded in an air of mystery and secrecy. While the investigation was taking place, news about these events was not permitted to leak to the outside world. It was a clandestine endeavor that remained largely unacknowledged until years later. The lengths to which the Brazilian military went to study these phenomena begs the question: what exactly was happening on the island of Colares in 1977? And, perhaps more intriguingly, what did the military discover during Operation Saucer? The lights and strange craft witnessed during this time weren't simply spectacles that the villagers could admire from a safe distance. No, these sightings were interactive, sometimes distressingly so. Residents reported experiencing both physical and psychological effects following encounters with the strange, unexplained phenomena, adding another layer to this. The villagers described the lights as intensely bright, usually taking on an array of vibrant colors. These were no mere flashes in the night sky, but rather intricate, luminous shapes performing elaborate maneuvers that defied conventional understanding of physics. Their movement seemed deliberate, as if controlled by some unknown intelligence. The effects they had on the local population were equally peculiar. Numerous individuals reported being targeted by beams of light emitted from these craft, resulting in a variety of symptoms. Some experienced intense heat and were left with first-degree burns on their skin. Others described a sensation akin to being pricked by hundreds of needles. Paralysis, weakness, and fatigue were also commonly reported following these encounters, leaving the victims drained of energy and in a state of deep confusion. One of the most chilling aspects of these encounters was that many victims also reported significant hair loss in the areas where the beams had hit them, a condition known as alopecia. Furthermore, puncture marks or small wounds were often found on the bodies of these individuals, leading to speculation about possible extractions of blood or biological material. What makes these accounts all the more troubling is that they were not isolated incidents, but rather widespread phenomena affecting a large portion of the local population. Indeed, over the course of just a few months, the local health post registered more than 400 cases of individuals suffering from these peculiar symptoms. The consistency of these reports, combined with the physical evidence, defied any straightforward, conventional explanation, deepening the intrigue and mystery surrounding the Brazilian Roswell. But like a sudden blackout in a vibrant city, Operation Saucer came to an abrupt end. It was December of 1977, and despite the operation having just scratched the surface of understanding the phenomena, the Brazilian military abruptly concluded it. This decision came as a surprise considering the increasing momentum of the investigations. The sightings showed no signs of diminishing. The populace was still gripped by fear, and the question of what these lights were remained unanswered. The hasty closure sparked a series of speculations. Some suggested that the military had made contact or had come to some agreement with the beings behind the lights. Others conjectured that they might have found something profoundly unsettling, something that either scared them into silence or was so significant that it had to be kept under wraps. Conspiracy theorists leaped at the decision. They suspected that the US government, given their vested interest in UFO phenomena, as demonstrated by initiatives like Project Blue Book, might have exerted pressure on Brazil to end the operation and keep the findings confidential. They point to potential cover-ups and suppression of information in the interest of national security. After all, what if these entities represented an unknown and potentially superior technology? But amidst all this speculation, the military kept tight-lipped and all files related to Operation Saucer were classified. The lead investigator, Captain Hollander, was reassigned, and any discussion about the operation was discouraged. It was as if a veil of silence had descended over the whole affair, making it one of the most captivating yet least understood UFO encounters in history. Years later, in 1997, Brazil did release some files pertaining to Operation Saucer, but the information contained within was frustratingly sparse. It seemed that the real heart of the matter, the true answers to what transpired during those strange months in 1977, were either lost, still hidden, or perhaps out of this world. Now, as is often the case when governments appear to hide information, a whole wave of conspiracy theories and unanswered questions surfaced. Who were the true puppeteers of these dazzling lights? Were they just an unexplained natural phenomenon, or did they indeed have otherworldly origins? Did the Brazilian military really make contact with these entities? The answers remain as elusive as the lights themselves, but let's dive deeper into these mysteries. Some of the more common theories suggest an extraterrestrial presence, with believers pointing to the sophisticated maneuvers of the lights and the bizarre symptoms exhibited by those who came into contact with them. These symptoms, including puncture marks and anemia, seem to defy logical explanation, leading some to posit that these were results of alien encounters. In the heart of the conspiracy theory jungle, some suggest that Operation Saucer was a smokescreen for a more secret, more in-depth investigation, one that yielded evidence of alien existence and contact. The abrupt end of the operation is often seen as a sign that the military had found something too potent, too shocking to reveal to the public. Yet others contend that the lights were perhaps secret technological experiments, possibly even orchestrated by the United States or another foreign power. The area around Colares is remote and sparsely populated, making it an ideal location for such clandestine tests. But of course, these are all theories, stories spun in the void of official silence. Despite numerous requests and appeals over the years, the Brazilian government has kept a tight lid on the Operation Saucer files. Captain Hollander, the lead investigator, gave an interview in 1997, claiming he had indeed witnessed the extraterrestrial entities during the operation. However, his mysterious death just a year later has only added fuel to the conspiracy theories and speculation. Thus, the Brazilian Roswell remains shrouded in mystery, a tantalizing question mark in the annals of UFO encounters. The island of Colares, once an obscure fishing community, is now etched in UFO lore as a hotspot of unexplained aerial phenomena and an enduring symbol of the quest for the truth about extraterrestrial life. Now, despite the swirling clouds of mystery and speculation, the Brazilian Roswell incident has left a significant footprint on the sands of time. This extraordinary event isn't just another tale of fleeting lights in the night sky. It has created a lasting legacy and has had a profound influence on the ufology and our perception of the unknown. Firstly, let's consider the sheer intensity and duration of the sightings. Over several months, countless people reported interactions with these inexplicable lights. This wasn't just a solitary UFO sighting, but rather a sustained, intensive phenomenon that affected an entire community. It's fair to say that such a level of activity is unprecedented in the annals of reported extraterrestrial encounters. Additionally, the involvement of the Brazilian military, one of the most powerful in South America, gives an extra layer of credibility to the events. Unlike many other UFO incidents, this one was officially investigated, lending an undeniable gravitas to the sightings. The military's serious approach, complete with a specially dedicated operation and its sudden termination, has intrigued ufologists and investigators ever since. The legacy of the Brazilian Roswell also extends to the cultural impact it has had. The story has been the subject of numerous documentaries, books, and articles. The town of Colares has become a mecca for UFO enthusiasts, with many making pilgrimages to this remote corner of Brazil to experience the location of these mystifying events firsthand. Finally, the Brazilian Roswell has made an indelible impact on the discourse about life beyond Earth. The fact that these sightings were accompanied by physical symptoms in those who witnessed them forces us to confront the idea that if there is other life in the universe, it could interact with us in ways we may not fully understand or anticipate. The incident fuels the ongoing debate and speculation about what lies beyond the boundaries of our planet. Ultimately, the legacy of the Brazilian Roswell is a reminder of our enduring fascination with the unknown, the mysteries of the universe, and our relentless pursuit of answers, no matter how elusive they may be. And as always, thanks for watching.